Hello everyone and welcome to Chris's Chaos. I am your host Chris Cortez. SummerSlam 2026 is come and gone. Thank goodness. Gonna do a little review about this show, both night 1 and night 2, which were held on August 1st and August 2nd, Saturday and Sunday nights at the US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And a lot to talk about here. Now, sometimes I'm even hesitant to do a review following a pay-per-view when I watch the show quite late into the night on my end here in Europe. So by the time I wake up in the morning, I'm blasted with reviews, multiple perspectives. I can't help but watch them and listen to see what they have to say, not only to argue or compete with them. That's not the point. The point is to wonder if there's anything else to contribute on the matter, on the topic. One thing that I'd like to point out, focus on a little bit here, especially as I go through this list of matches for both nights, is that, and it's something I commented on in social media, was that it was, while this show had its ups and downs and had its good moments, its bad moments, one thing I can't help but criticize is this undeniable fact that there are no matches competing with the main events or the WWE/World Heavyweight Championship matches to steal the show. This is not a thing anymore. It used to be a thing, and it used to be something to look forward to. When we look at a list, a match card, and we see a number of good matches, and that is what this SummerSlam had to offer, where this potential, okay? And you're watching these matches, and you realize that they're only giving 10 minutes here, 11 minutes there to the matches that you think had the potential to steal the show. You realize that there's just no possibility. When you're giving 30 plus minutes to the main events, or I have to make the correction because Hell in the Cell was the main event for night 1, but really, could you count it as a true main event, or was it just a co-main event because Oba Femi and Brock Lesnar, somebody upstairs was like, we have to put this at the end. Okay, we just have to, even though it was unnecessary. It was very unnecessary. Let me just keep to my point here. When two matches out of a 12-match lineup can go 30-plus minutes, meanwhile, no matches went over 15 minutes, okay? And people might argue with me, like, well, it doesn't matter how long it is. It doesn't matter if it doesn't need to go 15 minutes. It doesn't need to go 20 minutes. Well, I'm here to tell you right now, look at the WrestleManias and the SummerSlams of the past, and you'll see your favorite SummerSlams and your favorite WrestleManias, they had a balanced amount of time among the matches in the card. Okay? So, go back. Look at your favorite WrestleMania, whether it's WrestleMania 92, which honestly didn't have these long matches. You know, you go back. I went ahead and looked at these matches, these cards rather, going back to like SummerSlam 92. Your Bret Hart versus British Bulldog main event was the 25-minute match, as was the Ultimate Warrior Randy Savage match. At least it gave you an option to see, well, which one could steal the show. Obviously, honestly, Randy Savage and his Ultimate Warrior match in WrestleMania 7 probably stole the show that night. So it made sense to think maybe this one would steal the show. But Bret Hart, British Bulldog, definitely owned the night. But other than that, the matches on the card were relatively, under 15 minutes. They were closer to like 12 minutes, 13 minutes, 11 minutes. And that's fine, okay? But at least you had these two options on the same night. And you weren't just going to night 1 and night 2. You were dealing with one night, okay? Whereas now I'm looking at SummerSlam night 1 and night 2 thinking, okay, they've divided up the card to 6 matches. So there's no reason why there shouldn't be a slew of 15-minute matches, at least 2 or 3. No, on the opposite, quite the opposite. What I'm dealing with is a total match combined number, okay, of 1 hour and 25 minutes approximately for night 1, and 1 hour and 22 minutes approximately for night 2. Just remember, these pay-per-views, these premium live events, these PLEs, they go on for about 3 hours. Okay, what in the hell is going on between all those matches? You know what it is. It's advertisements. That's all it is. Advertisements. Here in Europe, in Germany, on Netflix, we're just given a break. It's just literally just sitting there, and it's just telling you to wait. We'll be right back. That's pretty sad. No promos, no in-between promos during the card that actually keep us invested, that drive the story. No, none of that. Just here's a break. Take a break. Here's a movie ad. We'll talk more about some things that definitely irked me. Like, for instance, right off the bat, that build up to that WWE Championship with the being a whole stupid promo for Street Fighter got a little out of hand, especially with Cody Rhodes coming out with that helmet with the guile hair. It looked stupid. Okay, I don't care if it made you laugh, if you thought, oh wow, this is cool. No, it was stupid. All right, on every level, and embarrassing. All right, and the moment where Chad Gable won the IC title in night 2, and everything was making sense, everything was genuine, and out comes this mug root beer dog to hand him 2 root beers so that he could chug them like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Sure, it was a feel-good moment, so while he's doing it, he can't help but you can be a little lighthearted. But when he's raising the IC title and behind him is the mug root beer bulldog mascot, that's when it's a problem. Okay? If one thing, it would be a totally different story if Chad Gable had walked outside of the ring and was handed 2 mug root beers, chugged them, and then went back in the ring. But to have that brand, that sponsorship, right in the middle of that moment, okay? It is worse than NASCAR, okay? This is worse than NASCAR. This is worse than the NFL and all those breaks and people that complain about these breaks in between plays. This is worse. Because we are literally seeking out true moments, genuine moments in a performance, and we're being bombarded with more commercialization. Terrible. So I could go on and on about WrestleManias and SummerSlams and how their cards were more balanced. You could do it. Go ahead and check them out. Go ahead and look at WrestleMania 19, okay? WrestleMania 19, no match went over 23 minutes. But there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches at the back end that were well over 15 minutes, okay? And any of those matches you could say, well, had the option to steal the show. Probably it was the Shawn Michaels Jericho match, I would say, was the one. But you could definitely argue that Stone Cold versus The Rock stole the show. Easily could have argued that Lesnar versus Angle stole the show, right? Because they're all good matches. At the beginning of the card, you have some 9 to 10 minute matches, 5 that are good, but they're at the beginning of the card. So you aren't expecting them to be these show stealers. Okay, it's not until you get into the meat of the card that you expect them to take it to 5th gear, to take it to another level and give the air the space to provide, to even give them the opportunity to steal the show. You cannot do that, okay, at 10 minutes, at 9 minutes, at 11 minutes. You can't do it. I'm telling you can't do it. So go back, look at your favorite card, and see what. Tell me when I'm telling lies. So let's get into this. And I kind of want to start from the end to the beginning. I mean, the Oba Femi versus Lesnar match. I mean, I even said myself, it can get brutal. I expect to go 15 minutes, longer than any other match they had. It went 11 minutes and 41 seconds. But what's worse, is that it didn't even use the cage. And I think everyone knows this. Everyone that's on social media has been talking about it. They didn't even use the cage. They used the mat, the ring mat, tore it up, exposed the boards. Great. But you didn't even need the Hell in the Cell to do that. This could have been no holds barred, no DQ, unsanctioned match. Boom. No, we have to do a Hell in the Cell because apparently at the end of every Brock Lesnar trilogy, there has to be a Hell in the Cell. It's throughout one of those matches. Come on. This is ridiculous. Unnecessary. And it probably should have been earlier in the card. It shouldn't have ended the show. And when it was over, Lesnar said, just frankly, that he is the past and Obafemi is the future. Okay. Thanks for another promotion, another nod to Obafemi. I don't even think we needed it at this point. I think we already got the message. So, what's next for Brock Lesnar? Your guess is as good as mine. The only thing I could say is it's probably a career match against Gunther or someone, a career match at WrestleMania, and that's it. Maybe something happens at Royal Rumble. He gets eliminated by the person he faces at WrestleMania. I mean, that's it. There's nothing left for him to do. He even said it. I am the past. I'm as good as gone. I'm here to collect another check, if at all. That's it. It actually, I think, would have been one of my more favorited matches between these guys. One of my more, approved of, favorite. I would have liked this. I think I liked this match more than the others. Maybe the second one might be a little better. But the fact is that just the expectation with Hell in the Cell and the fact that it was the headliner for this whole card. I mean, you couldn't have put more expectation on this match. So, but I can see through the smoke. Nevertheless, it was okay. But okay is not good enough. It's not. You can't satisfy a person in watching, investing their time and attention into a card like this and say, oh, it was okay. It was decent. Okay? That's not good enough for a SummerSlam that's 2 nights, okay, stacked 12 matches. Yeah. So, Obafemi, I think they're just going to, again, try to keep him as far away from the titles as possible until maybe Survivor Series. Maybe at some point he will get a shot. I don't think he'll win it. I don't think he'll actually win a title until WrestleMania. I think they go old school, traditional. Hey, that might not be your cup of tea. You might want that shock and awe where he wins out of nowhere as soon as he gets the opportunity. That could happen too. Okay? But I don't see it. I don't see it just yet. So, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, another one. This one, like I said, that Street Fighter promo just kind of hurt. Just didn't. It already ruined it for me. The match was okay. It was. I mean, they're good. They're great in the ring. I love both these guys. I know what they can do in the ring. They had a decent match again, but for these two guys to have a decent match at essentially what should be the main event of the SummerSlam, it's not enough. And to go 29 minutes, this was not that great of a match. It's disappointing because they had every chance to essentially be the match of the weekend. It wasn't. And to throw in Randy Orton in there, man, just a waste of time. People want to say, so many people think that Randy Orton is needed and it's necessary, or they want him to win that next WWE Championship. I'm sorry to tell you, man, he is not saving this company in any way. He's not. If anything, he's not. He's making it more convoluted. It's not helping. Where do you think this is all going? Another round of a slew of matches that's going to lead to another number one contendership match after Kevin Owens. Yes, who returned. We'll talk more about that with Night 2. But this match didn't do it for me either. I'll tell you what match did exactly what it needed to do and what it was supposed to do was the six-woman tag match. Fatal Influence versus Paige, Nikki Bella, and Brie Bella. They beat them. I was expecting there to be some sort of issues during the match leading up to the loss or the victory for Fatal Influence and the loss for Paige, Nikki Bella, the Brie Bella, the Bella twins. This match went 7 minutes and 32 minutes. Was perfect. Probably could have been earlier in the card, but whatever. It's in the middle. And would have made sense to give a little more understanding or justification as to why the bell is turned. What, just because they lost, they're going to turn on Paige, and Nikki just kind of spouts, you try to take my spot. Like, okay, great. What I do care about most is that Fatal Influence has some more momentum with JC Jane going up against Tiffany Stratton for the U.S. title. So it did what it needed to do. The Gunther Nick Aldis match was good for what it was. This was another match that should have been closer to the 15-minute mark. 14 minutes, 15 minutes. You're talking about a couple minutes that can essentially make all the difference. You think it doesn't, but it does. Because it gives time for the match to breathe, and it gives the audience a chance to realize, hey, these assholes are still going. These dudes are still going. These guys, this is a good match. If you don't have time to even think that, but rather, oh, okay, the match's over. Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, it was pretty good. No, you should be telling yourself this is a good match during the match. And you don't need to shout out, this is awesome, for it to be awesome. No, it needs the room to breathe. It needs the psychology involved in it. It needs the story. This match was, again, decent, but could have gone longer and probably needed to go longer in order for it to really hit home. But again, want to call it nitpicking? Great. It did achieve what it was trying to achieve with Nick Aldis, getting the kind of the respect from Gunther. Gunther still being protected. Gunther still have something to do. But again, we go to night 2 and we're going to see all that get more convoluted. We're going to see some issues with night 2, believe it or not. People aren't talking about it. I'm going to talk about it. Okay? The 6-man tag match did exactly what it needed to do. Solo Sikoa, Royce Keys, LA Knight, Fatu, Jimmy Uso, and Jey Uso. Usos and Fatu looking strong, but LA Knight, Sikoa, and Royce Keys look that much better with more character, more. I've been saying it since before this weekend. Sikoa is on a roll. Okay, he's looking better and better, and this did exactly what it needed to do, because now Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, is going to turn his attention away from Seth Rollins, away from this personal business, and now to family business, which is also, of course, first personal business, but it's not individual personal business. He's got to get Solo back in the fold, and he's got to get this little issue resolved, in his eyes at least. This is going, I think, to lead us to War Games and Survivor Series, and it may very well lead us into WrestleMania. Okay, I've mentioned it before. I could see LA Knight being that guy to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Now, that's not, etched in stone, but it is. He's the only one that I see really making sense to face Roman Reigns, if there's even a chance for Roman to drop that title at WrestleMania. Hey, he could very well hold that title past WrestleMania, I'm thinking. So, don't even be surprised. Now to the match that broke my heart, because it's the only match that I didn't essentially think. I essentially predicted that every single match was going to go, at least the finish that is, was going to go exactly how it was going to go in this night. More or less, like with Fatal Influence, they just won. Quite frankly, they won clean, but they won nevertheless. The Liv Morgan Io Sky was, I'd say, an excellent match. It's the closest match to a 15-minute match that we got. It's the only one. And it was the one that delivered. It's amazing how closer you get to 15, how much more depth a match has. This match did everything it needed to do. The only thing I would say was that the correct person didn't win. That is not to say that Liv Morgan shouldn't have. It didn't make sense for her to win in this regard. But this is why this has been such a problem with this. This is why this gave me so much anxiety in my predictions. I told you this one was going to give me a lot of anxiety. On the one hand, Liv Morgan has done nothing with the title. Well, here's something she has done. So great. She is proving herself to be an actual champion who delivers matches. But here's the thing. I never said she couldn't wrestle. I never said she couldn't work. She's an excellent worker. She has a great look. She has the package. She's always fun to watch. Sometimes her promos get a little dragged on and a little, cringy. But for the most part, she's excellent. Okay? But with the story, Io winning Queen of the Ring and her winning that match against Liv Morgan, I knew, well, shoot. Is she going to just win the match? This is why it made no sense. It was so stupid. It almost made it like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't let Io win this match. Okay? Win the title. And she didn't. So really there's only one thing left to do, and that's to down the road give Io Sky one more chance to fight Liv Morgan and actually take the title. But that's the thing that really pisses me off about the Queen of the Ring. Liv shouldn't have even been in the ring in the first place. Shouldn't have been in the tournament in the first place. And this is why. Okay? So, it was a good match. Like I said, a lot of great spots. And I was very happy with what I saw. Except the ending kind of irked me. But the closer I got to it, the more I was like, this is so up in the air. And that is what the match is supposed to do. So, very big props to Morgan and Sky. So when you look at all this, you can't really say that a lot of people keep saying night one was so much better than night two. Night one was so much better than night two. Hey, I'll say that night two was better, but it's not so much better. It's this constant regurgitation of night one being worse than night two, and maybe one match saves the night one, and then we get night two with the main event being better. It's not really that much different between these two nights. There's no leaps and bounds differences. There's just a couple disappointments here. Number one being the Lesnar and Obafemi match, being a Hell in a Cell, and being at the end of the card. That shouldn't have happened. Number two, the stupid promotions and commercialization that you saw throughout this night that cuts across all the matches, okay? What's ironic is that night two is even shorter combined match times, and yet had the longest match with Reigns and Seth Rollins. That's all it had. But there were actually, across all matches, more match time. But the distribution of it was definitely unbalanced. Okay, if they would have balanced out Cody Rhodes and Punk, made it maybe 25 minutes and spread it across, okay, given some more minutes to Aldis, and quite frankly just moved at Femi and Lesnar, because I wasn't expecting to do much more. Maybe 2 more minutes, bring him in, not make him the main event. It would have made this night a whole lot more digestible. Okay? That's it. That's all it took. So, because on paper, the card looks great, and it had the potential. And that's all that was. So maybe WWE needs to think about balancing out their matches, and being a little more calculated, a little more methodical in that regard, okay? Instead of stripping away their time and their opportunity to actually make a good match, right? That's what I gotta say about night one and night two. Since we're on the break, if you haven't done so already, hit that like or subscribe button. Join me at Channel Cortez 33 on Instagram and on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. And check out my predictions for this night leading up to, nights 1 and nights 2, SummerSlam. I'd say I did a pretty good job with predicting night 1. Night 2, let's get into it. Now, night 2 had some moments. You definitely see some things that happened that I guess gave a little more interest in it, starting with Kevin Owens returning, Gunther being added to this match, making a match that I was already interested in, Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn. 2 guys that are completely competent and giving an excellent match, one-on-one, more than deserving of being put in that number 1 contender spot. I predicted Finn Balor would win this thing, but hey, you throw in Owens and you throw in Gunther and you make everybody, the attention spans of everybody. I mean, it's like saying, hey, you go on you're planning this trip. Let's just say you're planning this excellent trip to Tokyo or Paris, right? You've studied it, you've researched it, you got all the things ready for it, okay? You're excited. And then you find out that, we're going to go to, last minute, we're going to go, Paris and Tokyo are pretty awesome, but let's say they switch it up. We're going to London. We're going to New York City, right? Let's say you're not American. We're going to New York City. We're going to Bangkok, right? A lot of people want to go to Bangkok. That's great. Beautiful cities. People want to visit these cities, right? Seoul, Korea, right? Shanghai, right? excellent cities. That's great. I want to go to these cities. But here's the thing. When you've already researched, done the work, planned, you're invested, you're ready to go to Tokyo, or you're ready to go to Paris, you're going to feel a little bit off about the fact that they just threw in this curveball. Okay? Maybe you weren't interested in Tokyo or Paris. Maybe you weren't. But for those of us that were sold on it, we were interested. Okay? That they've been telling you this. And the fact is why the hell would you tell this story and keep bringing it up and bringing it up? This idea that Finn Balor has not had the opportunity in 10 years. Well, shit like this, it's no wonder why he hasn't had quite the opportunities in 10 years, right? Could you have not brought in Kevin Owens the week before and had a big night to bring him back? Don't you think a lot of people would have been tuning in to SmackDown or Raw or whatever the hell program show you want him to be on? Let's just say SmackDown. Don't you think? Don't you think in Madison Square Garden in 2002 when they made it very clear that Triple H was coming back, that the crowd wasn't amped and that we weren't invested on, around the country ready to tune in to see Triple H return? Of course we would have given that much credit to Kevin Owens. We missed the hell out of Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is something we've been desperately needing. Want to talk about someone that's definitely going to make a positive impact on the show? It's Kevin Owens. Okay? But what you did is at the expense of the story you were building with Finn Balor. So the match only went 8 minutes and 30 seconds. That's another thing. It went a little too quick to give Owens the title. The opportunity for the title. Not to mention the fact that Gunther is again now, being. It's like we're going back around. Here we go again. He's going to be pissed off. What? Again at Nick Aldis? Probably not. I think they put that to rest. But, really, did they need to bring in Gunther? Right? And then on top of that, Kevin Owens. If anything, you should have just thrown Kevin Owens in the last week and just had him into it. Or a couple beats building up. This could have been built up. Okay? I think it's great, though, no matter what, because Zayn, I imagine, and Owens are now going to get into a program. I think Gunther, Owens, Zayn, Balor, now you got Orton and Cody Rhodes. 6 guys all gunning for the top spot. They have a great WWE Championship division, I guess you could say, right now. They have, the SmackDown does. The World Heavyweight Championship, that's a little bit iffy right now. There's really no one else who's next to step up to Reigns other than Solo. But Solo is not really even on Monday Night Raw, is he? So we'll see. But and let's talk about another match. And now I'm going from beginning to end. But let's talk about Corbin, Trick Williams. Again, did what they needed to do. I loved Corbin hitting that deep 6 on the outside of the ring to Trick Williams to turn the tables. And it was smart. You could tell he's changed his methods. He's methodical. He's patient. He talked about patience in his promo prior to this night, and it showed. He was patiently kind of luring Williams throughout the match, okay, baiting him, okay. At some point, Lil Yachty was getting involved. He used that to his advantage, and again, costed Trick Williams to accidentally land Yachty into a table. Again, distracting Trick Williams. Baron Corbin hits end of days, wins. This was excellent for what it was. It was a 9 minutes and 10 minute match, but it was also the second match of the night. It's exactly what you want. And now he's U.S. champ, and I didn't even think they were going to do it. And obviously, I'm totally invested. I would love to see Trick Williams and Corbin rematch. I don't even mind if they hot potato the title for a while, or even hot potato it with Carmelo Hayes. Let's keep this going. I want to see Corbin fight a number of competitors for the U.S. title. Let's throw in some other guys. Where's Dragunov? Hopefully they figured out his paperwork. Let's bring in Dragunov, right? There's a couple others I'm sure they could throw in to the U.S. title picture. And you have a hell of a show with SmackDown. Now the War Raiders are the WWE tag team champions, right? This is excellent. They came in like Clubber Lang versus Rocky Balboa, who was like having fun with R-Truth and Damian Priest. They thought they were having, just still having fun and building up to this match, being cool. War Raiders were all business. I'm sorry, the War Raiders, they didn't win, but they definitely looked like they were the stronger team. And then there, if it wasn't for I was going to say Hikuleo, Talatonga, the Tongas, and Tama Tonga getting involved. And if I'm not mistaken, was there a fourth tag team? So they're trying to bulk it. They're trying to present to you their pictures, their title pictures, okay? And there's one for the tag titles. There's one for the mid-card title, the U.S. title. There's one even for the women's division now with this, after Chelsea Green winning. We'll go right into that. 13 minutes, 3 seconds, went exactly what it needed to do. I do have one criticism about this match. Obviously, I was rooting for Flair to win. I was expecting Flair to win. I was noticing throughout the match, and it's funny when you watch a match and you realize, oh shit, man, the audience is actually backing Chelsea Green like this. It's like, I guess I've been living in a bubble. I've been watching it, and I never really. I know Green Chelsea was popular, but to this level, I didn't think so. And honestly, I think they're really leaning into this interim situation. She really is the interim champion. Because I tell you right now, if Rhea Ripley comes back and faces Chelsea Green to be to crown the undisputed women's champion, who do you think is going to win? Unless it's some fluke, Green would get beat. And it's not even in her ability. I'll be the first to tell you, Chelsea Green has the ability. She does. She has the look. She has everything she needs. You should see her on the ladder, with the title in her hand. She looks excellent. She looks like a champion. What doesn't convince me is that her facial expressions, her look, because you can learn a lot about what they're thinking with their facial expressions. But again, I'm giving credit to Chelsea Green. She clearly understands psychology. But what she's telling you is that essentially I wasn't confident in winning this thing, but I had an opportunity and I seized it. But oh my goodness, I can't believe it just happened. Wow, look what I just did. As if she was not confident in that she was going to be able to do this. Okay? She has that air of, I'm not in that spot. And there's others that have said it. Like Mike Cole even said it. And it's not like you have to agree with him and even other commentators, YouTubers have talked about this, and they've said, Chelsea Green, shouldn't be discounted, right? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that she hasn't even put herself in that position where she needs to be in the conversation, and it's intentional. It's not like she's not stepping up to the plate. She is, but in her character, she is putting herself as this person who's not quite confident, right? I'm just trying to think of some others that would come to mind that were in that position, but you probably have a few that you're thinking about as well. But this match did what it needed to do. This is why I hate ladder matches like this, 6 women, 5 women, 6-man, 5-man ladder matches. This is why I hate these, because they really don't really factor in skill, but rather it's just like whoever's last happens to be last, and out of luck, it's just pure luck, that wins the match in the story of the match. They're my least favorite type of matches next to a gauntlet match. Gauntlet matches are even worse, okay? Then fatal 4-ways follow these types of matches, and triple threats. I like 3-way dances and 4-way dances because there's eliminations to it. You really have to work and outwork and outperform your competitors. So, yeah, that's just that. But yeah, this helped. This helped to also add to the excitement. So far, yes, we are on a roll. The Human Money's on a pole match. Danhausen versus Dominic Mysterio. I zoned in and out. I knew what they were trying to do. It's for the kiddies. I'm okay with it being there. It's a gimmick match. But it didn't even need to be what it was. It looking like it went about 6 minutes and 50 seconds. If you know this is a BS match and it's a joke, which it is, you might as well have made this match about 4 minutes. Could have made it 3 minutes and it would have done what it needed to do. 3 minutes and 49 seconds. Boom. You throw in the little mini Danhausens and Joe Hendry. My goodness, this is totally unnecessary. You could have thrown one or the other. Either way, it's not that great. You could have thrown them both in. You could have had this match up and done in 4 minutes. Okay? I would have been okay with it. 6 minutes and 49 seconds. Better than being, at least it was the shortest match on the card. That I will give it, okay? But the problem is, the only thing that is affecting our outlook on it is the fact that, one, there's so many commercials, so many breaks, so many unnecessary sponsored breaks, and then on top of that, you're leaving out guys like Carmelo Hayes, okay? You're leaving out guys, hell, like Rusev, like Ray Phoenix. You're leaving out wrestlers who could perform, you know? You're leaving out Julia, by the way, which I was surprised she was beat by Lash Legend. You're leaving out a lot of talent, okay, for a joke match, okay? And again, I don't mind the joke matches. I get it. I trust me. I've worked in enough shows, watched enough wrestling to know what the joke match is and what its function serves. So, and then you got what should have been at least 15 minutes. 20, it could have even been 20 minutes. It should have been. This is, as far as I'm concerned, this was okay match, which makes it only a disappointment. Chad Gable versus Penta. You knew who was going to win. I do love Penta's outfit that he came out with, that leather jacket, kind of definitely giving off Ghost Rider vibes. Very happy to hear they're rebooting Ghost Rider. We'll talk about that at some point sooner or later, but I'm a big Ghost Rider fan. I've collected all his volumes leading up to, I would say, the... oh, man, my brain is sometimes just... Yeah. The Mendez, if I'm not mistaken, Ghost Rider when he was in the Dodge Challenger. After that, comic books just get more and more expensive. But believe me when I say I was an avid collector in the 90s, and all the way through most of the 90s, and then much of the early 2000s, and all the way up until about 2016, 2017, I was collecting. And I have I do really, was very much into it. But it was very cool. It just definitely gave off those Ghost Rider vibes. And it already kind of works because his face mask and his paint is that of a skull. So looked cool. Chad Gable's entrance, minus the clapping, he's really cool. Comes out with his Minnesota Vikings colors on his singlet. Crowd's amped. This is going to be a good match. You're expecting this to be a match that goes to the distance, that potentially steals the show. I see people in the comments saying, this was my favorite match. Okay, great. It was your favorite match, but it didn't steal the show. Is it your personal favorite? Great. I'm glad it's your personal favorite, and that's cool. There's no disputing that. Maybe you don't like longer matches. Maybe you just don't like Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, but you can't deny this did not steal the night. It can't, because it didn't go all the way. And the amount of time that it got some color, it got intense, and then it led to that ankle lock. But this is just a easiest example as to why you need more time to give some breathing, to get to to get the steps all in, to get this, just when you think it's over, it's not over, okay? Just when you think they're done, they are not done. 11 minutes and 7 seconds approximately? 11 minutes, 10 seconds? That's horseshit. Shouldn't have been the case. They should have gone 15 to 20 minutes, and that's that. So it did what it needed to do. The right winner won. The right person won. The moves were there. Everything was there, but it was definitely rushed. In fact, you could throw in a mug, bulldog mascot, and yeah, you have a lot of issues with this match. And a lot of disappointment. So, yeah. But the card still looks good when you look at it as a whole. Right? But then we get to that last match, which everyone's saying it's the best match since WrestleMania, since Punk and Roman. Okay. Roman knows how to... Look, this is what I've been saying. Roman knows how to... I knew that Roman can work a match. So can Rollins. There's no doubt about it. That they were going to put on a decent match, a very good match. Forget decent, it was a good match. Okay, it was definitely above average, right? And had all the time it needed. Honestly, this match could have dropped maybe 3 minutes. At one point, there were so many breaks, then they were just sitting there staring at each other. It wasn't like they were quite exhausted. It was just more like, what else could we do? And that kind of breaks the fourth wall. Not so much, what else can we do to each other that we haven't done that can finally get the victory? It's more like, what else do we need to do in this match because we've done everything and we don't know what else the hell else to do, right? This match could have been a little bit shorter. And I only mean like 4 or 5 minutes shorter, right? It's amazing what balancing can do to a card. But as far as the spots, as far as the references to guys, to their third member, their third brother in arms, Dean Ambrose, aka Jon Moxley, references with the Death Riders that were attempted and actually pulled off. The moment where Rollins hit the ropes and he kind of bent into between the ropes and kind of leaned up a little bit further like Ambrose used to do and fired back with a clothesline. That's appreciated. That's very much appreciated. The fact that nobody got involved. The fact that no foreign objects were used. For a second, I almost thought that Reigns was going to expose the turnbuckle. If I'm not mistaken, he did that with the Punk match. If I'm not mistaken, forgive me, but it looked like he was about to do it. And hey, that could be a signature thing that he does. And there's nothing wrong with that because technically he's not doing anything illegal. It's a little bit illegal, but it's still, it's still justified. Right? It's still like not getting help from outside interference or bringing in foreign objects. It's more like just, I'm going to use this ring as my, my battlefield. That's definitely much more accepted in the eyes of fans in terms of whether you're being a chicken shit heel, coward, or, being a fighter. Now, Reigns, as I mentioned, man, he was the rightful winner. There was no way they were taking the title off him. They're putting this storyline to a close finally after so many years, and I'm glad they did everything they needed to do and did all the references and told the story in the ring the way they needed to tell it because, hell, this is done. But don't think for a second that you won't see these two wrestle ever again. They're going to wrestle. People are talking about like it's the end of an era, like it's never going to happen again. They may not have a feud such as this, but I'll tell you right now, if Dean Ambrose came back, you damn right they would all get into this. Just when you thought it was over, we got to do this one more time, and we're going to finish it now. This is it. Yeah, they would do it because it sells. But they're not going to have a feud like this ever again between the two of them. Sure, that's that. And definitely it brought back feelings of like the two that took me all the way back to 2000, end of 2012, 2013. I can remember like it was yesterday when the Shield hit the scene in the main roster and took over, followed by the Wyatt family. And I felt better than ever about the wrestling product in WWE because I knew that the new roster had arrived. The new batch had truly arrived, and Cena's time was out, as was Orton's, as was Batista's, as was even Lesnar's. And while everyone seems to be holding on to Orton, it was over then. Okay, it was over then. Okay, they were just slowly but surely fading out. So that's what it was. And I always enjoyed it because I always thought that we would see guys like Wyatt, right? And, that the Wyatt family would also be kind of in this moment with these two guys. I felt like Ambrose would be in this moment with these two guys, right? That Brody Lee would be in this moment with these guys. It brings a lot of emotions. It's very, it's very emotional because we were very much invested for the last 13 years. So, yeah. But overall, it was a great match. And overall, this whole card was okay. This night 2 worked out. But there are still disappointments resonating from night 1 and therefore throughout the entire card. And honestly, if you're not going to be able to balance it out next year, you should take this as a note. You got your glows, you got your grows. Balance the hell out of these matches. Give at least 3 matches in each night a chance to steal, like an opportunity to compete for what's the match of the night, right? You can't do that if you got one 30-plus minute match and a bunch of 10-minute matches, or one's 11, one's 13. There should be at least 25, 30-minute match, okay. 15 to 20-minute match, right? 20 to 25-minute match, and a 10 to 15-minute match. 13-minute match. They should be closer to each other than further apart. There should not be this gap between one match and 5 other matches. And honestly, may want to even consider, I've heard this also on social media, and I kind of agree. You could probably take this whole thing down to a 10-match card. I've seen 12-match cards of SummerSlam one night. You could take this thing down to 10 minutes, 10 matches, and then you would have probably a more balanced card if you're going to give it to me like this. Because if you're going to give me 6 matches per night, I expect there to be some space and focus. That's the whole point of having a 5 to 6 match card. That's what NXT was doing. That's what this is trying to mimic. But no, what you're doing is you are using it to give us more commercials, to give us more sponsors, to give us more BS. What are you trying to pay off that debt, TKO? Come on. Do it a little bit more with some dignity here, because you're doing it at the expense of the audience, and you're doing it at the expense of your workers, your competitors. So, on that note, I think I'm done. If you haven't done so already, hit that like or subscribe button. It's been fun. I look forward to Monday Night Raw. We'll get on it. Talk about Raw, hopefully, SmackDown. But it's been a good weekend for the most part. To do a lot of grilling, grill a whole bunch of burgers and bratwurst, and watch Spider-Man Brand New Day. I was very surprised by the turn of events. I'm not going to spoil it, but they definitely had a twist I wasn't expecting. I was, again, expecting for something else, but I won't say it was bad. They still made it work, and I was still impressed. So I was happy to go to that. Other than that, it was a fun weekend, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Have any comments to add? Any questions? What do you think about SummerSlam Nights 1 and Nights 2? Please feel free to drop your comments. Tell me what you thought of SummerSlam Nights 1 and Nights 2. What was your favorite match? If it isn't already, obviously, Reigns versus Roman. Or maybe you were that much into Penta and Gable. Sure. Maybe it was the women's ladder match. Right? Maybe it was Liv Morgan versus Io Sky. Definitely something to consider. All right. Take care. I'll see you guys next time.